Greetings, dear friends. We're glad to welcome you to the International Roundtables, which are a continuation of the International Online Conference, Global Crisis, This Already Affects Everyone, which was held on July 24th on the platform of ALLATRA International Public Movement. This conference caused a wide response from people from all over the world. That is why we're so happy to announce that on December the 4th, 2021, a new international conference, Global Crisis, Time for the Truth, will be held. We're so happy to invite you to join it and expand on the topic of climate and environmental disasters.
Hello, dear friends. Let me please introduce the participants of our today's roundtable, the topic of which is global crisis. What kind of world will we leave to our children? We have four amazing women today with us. Irina Simmons, Master of Arts, art historian, founder of the League of Sound from the Netherlands. Akmaral Batalova, journalist and film producer from Kazakhstan. Ksenia Riva, reporting analyst from the Netherlands, and Her Royal Highness Queen Nadia Harihiri, Ambassador at Large for UN Affairs at the International Human Rights Commission, World President of IDE de Nenouille, ADN France, the Pro-Chancellor of Rocketfield College of Science, founder and CEO of Success World from France. Dear participants of today's roundtable, we're very glad to welcome you and thank you so much for joining us today. And the first question that we would like to ask is, of course, your impressions of the conference, global crisis. This already affects everyone. So could you please share, what did you like the most about this conference? What topic grabbed your attention? And I would like to address this question first to Irina. Irina, the floor is yours.
Greetings, dear ladies, and thank you for this opportunity to be participating in the roundtable just dedicated to the event that happened about 2 weeks ago, the Global Crisis Conference. So this already affects everyone, and it really affects everyone because the topics that were raised, they were scary on the one hand, but they're absolutely necessary on the other hand. And especially what impressed me was the topic of cataclysms and the refugees. What is impending? The thing is that if you just look at it from another point of view, if we women look at it, you know that women have this creative energy that can even not just create, but even change the whole world. And if we look at all the world, right, well, our world looks like the world of absolute pain, and it's kind of one general hospital, or kind of with a psychiatric bias. And so I was impressed by the speakers at the Global Crisis Conference who voiced out the truth. And because, those speakers really had the courage. And there were many speakers who did not come to the conference. And of course, we understand that a person should have courage today in the consumer format of society to voice the truth, because usually the consumerist format of society imposes fear on us. Fear just to say the truth, fear to lose your position in the society, fear just not to keep your family and friends going, and but it's actually an illusion, right? So because life of course, presents many kind of surprises, okay? Because just looking, we cannot even, from the point of view of a woman, I wouldn't like to leave such a world, such, well, a scary and ill world to our children, because it's already spoiled. But I believe that there are people who are ready to wake up, but just what do they need? It's someone, some other people to push them, okay? And I believe that, talking about children, we should just pass them this feeling of inner freedom, which is connected with the inner freedom and with the inner responsibility for oneself and for the other people, for the world. We should pass this knowledge to our children. The value of life is, the value of human life is the utmost value, because today we are living and we're wasting half of our life on our fears, on these wishes to earn more, to make money, and we waste just lots of health, I would say. And the other part of our life we spend on all these hospitals and treatments. So we waste our life, on fears, on distrust, or just money, and we forget about the most important thing. We forget about life. We forget that we have the potential, a huge potential, and this very potential, I would like to talk about it.
В этой ситуации люди начинают терять человеческий облик и превращаются просто в зверей.
Because if we go on living like this, then we won't have any, safety or security. Yeah, it's natural that women are afraid for the children, the grandchildren. It's such an important topic, because really, what can we leave? What world can we leave to our children? Because we cannot just, leave our children just to grannies and say, okay, just grow up as you want. Because children, they need upbringing, and they need to be explained this, and they need to go this process of transformation through positive examples. And when we talk about that woman, for example, right, we have women do have potential, inner potential, but we generally live in the world that is actually being destroyed, and all the planet's ecosystems are destroyed. Everything is being destroyed. All our systems of values. So we need to create the conditions for children to flourish, to grow up. Because, I was impressed by just a small experiment of the French scientists who had conducted experiment with a small hatched chicken and a small robot. So the point of that experiment was that when the chickens, right, when just little chicks get hatched, the first creature that they see, they consider it as their kind of mother. All right, so this chick was the first creature that he saw. It was a robot, and he, of course, a little chick. He considered this robot as his mother, and then the scientists took the chick and put it just in a glass box. But the chick, he was kind of divided from the robot by the scientists on purpose. But the chick wanted to see the robot so much, wanted to be next to that robot, right, to that dear being for him. So what did the chicken do? He started to move towards the robot to push that glass box and nearer to the robot, and just So can you see the point that even if a small chick, chicken, any live being has this intention, live intention, right? And it's even on the quantum level. So has this power to move or to. So can you imagine that even small creatures like that can do that? So what can our children do? That's most important, because our children have still greater potential, and this is what our children should be left with. I mean, with this knowledge. Not with these, different principles of fear or weakness or cowardice, but our children should be taught these endless opportunities. And should be learned the truth, so that children would be bold enough to live in this world and not to save just their lives, but even the lives of their dear ones, and not just, to leave. We shouldn't leave just the legacy to our children like, barely alive. And we should be thinking about that, and should be speaking up about that. So that is why it really affects each person, and it concerns each man, each woman. So I'm really looking forward to the other speakers who would raise these topics at the next conference, and I'm looking forward to people to wake up. And this is the main thing. And what also worries me is that, according to Spiegel's book, it's kind of about hot ash. Yeah, we are living in the world with kind of hot ash that is always falling on my head. Okay, so people live under stress and in worries, but we should change this situation.
Thank you very much, Irina. Thank you so much for your feedback. And I really like your comparison our consumer format with the mental hospital. It's 100% correctly. We know what's happening. We understand. We see the all terrible things that happening right now in this moment with our society, with our earth, and we keep silent. We're doing nothing. That's really sounds like a very, very, very bad situation. And I also agree with you that in order to provide for our kids the better world, the better future, we need to do something. And our strength in a unity. And if we, as a humanity, really unite around this idea of creating a better future, we definitely can, because we have a huge potential right now. And thank you so much for bringing this to us. And I also would like to ask our next speaker, Akmaral, what are your impressions of the conference? Could you please share it with us?
Greetings, dear viewers, dear speakers. Thank you very much for the invitation to join the roundtable, international roundtable today. It's always a pleasure to be communicating with the like-minded people. And I've also watched with the conference Global Crisis. This already affects everyone. And like Irina has just said, I was touched by the topics of cataclysms, climatic cataclysms, and the topic of refugees, especially the topic of refugees, because myself, I was just observing the situation with the refugees and in Turkey in 2015. I just briefly, let me tell you the story, what I felt then. We were just relaxing, we were on holiday, and a friend of ours called us. He is Palestinian, and it just and in the 70s, well, his house was demolished by Israeli just trucks, and his eldest son, he just left for some kind of organization, and he was manifesting against Israel. And just a result, his son was imprisoned, and so this friend of ours, he grabbed his young daughter and he left for Syria. But I must say that in Syria, the Palestinians, they had or they were granted citizenship and so kind of some privileges, and they were just left in some kind of refugee camp, Yarmouk, sort of this. Well, and it was not it was not like a camp, just tent camp, but the Syrian government really helped the Palestinian people a lot. And it was, not just the tent camp, but it was the whole complex, modern residential complex with schools, with just anything, residential buildings, and so on. Then it happened that in Syria, a war broke in Syria, and again, IGIL organization, it occupied this camp of Palestinian refugees in Syria, right, again. And although, Palestinians, they had many privileges, they could get in, education alongside with the Syria children. So this IGIL organization, they kind of, paid many residents just to go into their ranks, so to say. And the daughter of our friend, right, she had to graduate from the university, Damascus University, banking faculty. So they left actually for Lebanon, and there they had to be in the camp, tent camp. And I must say that it doesn't matter in Jordan or in Lebanon or Turkey. The tent camps, they had awful conditions, because there was everything horrible there, like people slavery and trafficking, human trafficking, and just drug dealing, whatever. So what did our friend do? He actually he got all his money possible, and he just sent his daughter to Turkey. And then he called us, and we were on a vacation, as I started my story with, if you remember. And this friend of ours asks us to help him just to find his daughter, because she got lost already for several days. And I went to the center of Izmir, and I was shocked, because what I saw there, I saw crowds of people, and it was just incredible. They were living outside in the streets, and the prices were really high in the hotels or hostels. So these people, they just spending their nights in the streets. And when I entered this crowd of people, I was showing these people the photo of this girl, and was keeping on asking whether they saw this girl. And so for about 3 days, from early morning till late at night, I was looking for this girl among these refugees. Of course, I didn't find this girl, but just luckily the girl just found us herself. She called her father and said that the Turkish police kept her, and she lost all her documents. And actually, I saw that this girl, she was living with us for some time, but she was kind of trying to connect with the criminals, and that was the girl who told us all these details of this dirty business, So it was really horrible. I mean, this human trafficking, and really what was happening in the refugee camps, and so many just people got disappeared in overloaded boats. Even 20 up to 30 people, they just got drowned, and an acquaintance, a guy, he was a strong one, and he managed to swim to the shore of Greece. So exactly those examples made me study this topic, study the topic of refugees and the conditions that they're living in, and how is it happening. And I was talking to the refugees, to Afghanis, from people from Lebanon, from Syria, from Iraq, and all that these people were telling me, it just made me embarrassed and shocked, because of course, notwithstanding that they were trying to border the European borders, to cross the European borders, they were treated like animals, because, for example, Syria, people from Syria, right? They were given kind of the right, the first right to give this guarantee citizenship or refugee status. But with what happened with the other refugees, their passports were taken from them, and for example, even Afghani people, they were speaking just English, but none of the officials was trying to check Afghani people, to check their documents, to talk with them. Even, for example, not just there were Arabians, just experts, or they were trying, for example, other experts that could define the accent of these refugees. So what can I say about the climatic refugees? Well, I could say that, even just lately, I went with my grandchildren to the observatory, and there the astrologers said that if many thousands years ago, the North Star used to serve as a navigating for Earth. So today, this North Pole, it gets changed. And if it used to be in just another Lyre constellation, today, well, we are going to navigate just according to another polar star, and accordingly the climate is going to change with these polar star changes, and that is why the climate change is inevitable. And it doesn't mean that we do not have any responsibility or towards our surrounding world. In fact, yes, we are kind of developing technologically more. We're kind of making these processes faster. We accelerating these processes. Sorry, sound check. We accelerate in these processes of climate changes, but again, I should say that we shouldn't just bring this topic of the climate change together with the politics. Okay. So, as Irina Siemens, today's speaker, has said, that we are living in fear today, and this fear is being kind of intensified by the media so much, just on any case, that today the climate change is now kind of, this topic is changing into kind of some hysteria. In fact, we should be talking about the specific measures. You're talking about, for example, the threats of this plastic usage, okay? But again, why should we not to use this paper bags instead of non-plastic, just instead of plastic bags? So, or again, why do we have these calls not to pollute the atmosphere, and just why don't governments take any measures not to pollute the atmosphere? These companies, organizations, why don't they do that? So how about this, iPhone corporations, and that they produce again kind of not kind of healthy products, okay? And again, many these transnational companies, right? They could take responsibility for lots of things, but instead they put this responsibility on ordinary people. So what? Just let me sum up all my speech, right? In a few words, sentences. So what I would like to say is that, well, responsibility is completely with us, people, because who do we elect? Who do we choose? Who do we vote for? Why are these people, why when these people come to power, right, why don't they fulfill their obligations? Why don't we follow that the elected do not fulfill their obligations? So what's the point to change their just in one just particular country, if we do not change the whole international system, if this international system is corrupted? So if we do not follow this democracy freedom, so what's the point? And the population of so-called democratic nations, they take it for granted. So what should we do? I believe that we should be changing the whole international system because it is highly corrupted, and also we should not just be criticizing, but we should be taking specific actions, not just change politicians, but we should be looking for the ways, as for example, ALLATRA IPM is declaring that we should be changing ourselves, right? Start changing ourselves, and we should raise people's awareness. That's what I wanted to tell you about, and I would like really to believe that these changes, these positive changes, will take place one day.
Points that you have just highlighted, and about the refugees, about the situation on borders between countries, about all the, I can say, truly horrible things that are going on between the countries, between the people, they are really the things that every person should be aware of. And we need to speak up. We need to talk about that. And we need to be aware. We need to search for solutions. And of course, creative society is the alternative way of basically forming a new type of relationships between people, a new type of communication, a new type of support, because in the creative society, the human life is the highest value, and automatically all the things that we just talked about, they will disappear, because once the human life is in the first place, then everything falls onto its own places. And thank you so much for speaking up and for telling this important truth, this important information to us and to our viewers today. And right now, I would like to pass the floor to Ksenia Riva, and I would like to ask you to share your impressions of the conference. Could you please tell us what surprised you, or maybe what was shocking to you, or what opened your eyes on some issues that were mentioned during the conference?
Thank you. Greetings. I would like to share with you that when watching the conference, I was fascinated by the third part of the conference, which was about the environmental crisis. And hereby, I would like also to share the quote that resonated with me when watching the facts that was presented. And the quote is by Crazy Horse. Treat the earth well. It was not given to you by your parents. It was not loaned to you by your children. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. And I understood that it is ineffective to simply put responsibilities of our current situation to the past generation. As the cause of the current situation, we actually need to fix it by ourselves. We need to take actions and take our own responsibility in unifying efforts together, where everybody puts their ego aside and when honest unity prevails for the sake of our children. We, as currently our community, we must put an end to this consumerism society, and not for a few who are sustaining it. We all together should do it. And also, what fascinated me as well, that the facts presented during the conference related to the global climate change on Earth, and that this is mainly a derivative of the astronomical processes of the cyclicity. And it was fascinating to see that it was proven by various independent scientists from various countries that we are currently in the phase of the new 12,000 year cycle. There are processes, those processes happening or occurring on the Earth, which mankind cannot influence at present, and therefore one should not underestimate the consequences. If it's necessary, we need to prepare for those events. And as was already introduced, that I'm residing in the Netherlands, I was deeply affected by the synchronicity that happened just recently. On the week of the conference, there was the tragic floods in the south of Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany occurred. My family and I live literally a couple of hours away from the tragedy. I also learned that the people who were affected could not be saved due to lack of the resources and equipment. They literally had a couple of minutes to climb to the top of the roof just to rescue themselves. And when government authorities invited military vehicles to support victims, actually military vehicles were not able to withstand the power of the nature. And these are, as we call, developed countries in the heart of Europe. So this actually shows that we are not capable to solve those situations like this by ourselves. And this is only simple, not a simple, but only a river came out of the borders, right? What could we actually expect further? And I believe that we should strive on the three main topics, actions. First, people need to think that the government will save them. No, we should put away those pink glasses from our eyes and think that this is actually, we need to do something about this. We cannot put responsibility on someone else's shoulders to save us. The second is that if we cannot rely on somebody, we actually need to action ourselves and to face those events in a more effective way in the future by focusing on historical experience. So the third part is that we need to look at the history. What happened in the historical events? Did any similar situation occur on Earth? How countries were able to fight those situations, right, or resist, or actually support people? Can we share this knowledge with everybody and so make sure that all the countries, all the regions, all the people are informed and know how to rescue themselves, help other people? Because in a situation like this, all the values that you earn along your life, they demolish. And the only thing that is the most valuable at that specific moment when such a situation occurs in the environment is life of human beings. And if we want to make sure that our children are having a proper world to live and making sure that they are having a safe environment, we need to teach them. We need to give them all the tools for them to be able to use it and implement whenever any climate or ecological disaster occurring to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ksenia, for emphasizing one more time the role of unity and the necessity of changing the format from a consumer-oriented format to a creative, the model of a society in which human life will stay on the first place. Only this format will give us chance to really unite all our efforts, unite all our resources together, and really overcome this difficult situation that we're facing right now. And I also would like to thank Admiral for bringing such a difficult and heartbreaking examples. But again, we understand how this format in which we're living right now divide us and bring us to fight with each other instead of find a solution together. And today with us we have Her Majesty Queen Nadia, and I would like to thank you for your understanding the depths of the topics raised in this conference and joining us for the second time already. And perhaps after listening to our speakers today, you have a new insight, you have new understandings that you would like to share with us today.
Greetings, everybody. Thank you for inviting me again in this international roundtable. Thank you. I was listening to everybody, and it is just amazing that you can feel the pain and how they were affected in the heart, in the soul, in their mind. Everybody had received in another way, in its originality, the situation, you know. You know, in all the conferences I was available, and I was following all the conferences, and in its globality, it was very well done. And I thank ALLATRA TV for showing us and putting in light different things that we have not seen or observed by ourselves. And I thank really ALLATRA to showing all that and putting in place everything. You know, in this conference, Global Crisis, we were speaking about artificial intelligence, and they have shown so many beautiful things that we were not even aware of. So we have the technology growing up and increasing, improving, and at the same time, the crisis of the climate change, the conflicts, the refugees, the poverty, and all that. So it's like we are divided. So you have people who are making and building in the new technology, that this technology should really serve the people to improve their life. And in the other side, we are just suffering. The question that we have to ask ourselves, what happened? Why we are here? Why we are in this situation? Why we are victim of the climate change today? Why we are living this crisis? Why the refugees are not treated like the human being? Because I have seen in different countries where the refugees, and they are dying of hunger. They are not respected, they are judged, and they are raped. So the children are raped in some camp of refugees. We are talking about also the climate change, and I thank ALLATRA for showing us and putting in light that the climate change is a cycle of Earth. And people, lot of people, some people knows about this truth. And I thank ALLATRA for putting that in light and explaining that there is, yes, a cycle of Earth, and that everybody should know. If we were informed, if we were taught that Earth had a cycle, we would be prepared. We would be prepared to these troubles of climate change. We would be prepared for the refugees, you know, the migration because of the climate change. The reality, you have some people, they are working in secret. They are not informing the others. And we are putting responsible of the human being for what they are not responsible. The reality is that all here together, we are only speaking about the effects. We are only showing the effects. But we cannot change the situation of the past. What happened, happened already. We cannot change what happened already. We cannot change this situation of refugee. We cannot change the situation of inundation, cataclysm, and all these catastrophic things that we have passed already. That we are still living. But the positive things in this situation, that we have within us the solution to change the situation. If we accept to understand that we are living in a primitive, collective consciousness, stuck in separation, doubt, fears, mental health issues. This is what we have created collectively. And we are stuck, I repeat again, we are stuck in this primitive, collective consciousness of separation, division, fears, doubt, conflict, mental health issues, and all that. And the list is very long. So let's talk about now the why. Why we are living all that. Because we know that we are living in it. Now we need to understand why. Why? The reality is that we are all together responsible of what is going on. All together responsible. How? Because we are an element of God living in God. We are limiting ourselves. We don't know our real identity. We are spirit living an experience. I repeat again, we are spirit living an experience in the form, in a body. And the biggest ignorance that we have is to think that we are a body living a spiritual experience. From that problematic come the cause of all these troubles. So imagine that you are thinking to something. This thought, because every thought is bringing an emotion. This thought is bringing an emotion, and the emotion is bringing an action. You understand? So when you are just an idea, you have an idea of sadness, immediately you will feel sadness. The first reaction that you have is to cry. This is how this world was built. By ignorance of ourselves, we are disturbing completely our environment. Because as a spirit, we are an extension in this body. And we are impacting the life of the others, like the others are impacting in our life. The spirit impacting the life, because everything is built in the invisible. All the visible is built in the visible. But the visible is impacting in the invisible. How? When you have in front of you conflict, problems, fears, all that, it is infecting your mind. And this is how you are developing some mental health issues. Some of them are going to suicide. Some of them, they are going to drug, to all that. I believe that thanks to ALLATRA, that we are capable to create a collective and creative society for all of us, for our children. I will not say for the future of our children, but the future of the built from now. You cannot teach your children. We cannot teach our children something that we have not understood. We all want peace. We all want love. But have we really understood love and peace? Do we really understand love and peace within us? Really? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Because we are still living in judgment, still living in conflict with one another. We are all in conflict. We are even creating artificial intelligence, not always to benefit the human being, but to control the human being. How do you want us to give a legacy to our children or build to our children something, a better world for tomorrow? I'm sorry. A child is like a sponge. He's absorbing from his close environment, his family, then the society around him. And what he's doing, he's only reproducing what he was taught. And this is how we are, from generation to generation to generation, are living in conflicts, are living in ignorance, are living in the lack of love, in the lack of peace. And this is our problem. How do you want our society to change if we are not changing ourselves first, if we are not changing our mindset, our mentality, our attitude? Do you think that a child will grow up at peace and produce peace and love if in his environment, in his home, there's conflict, that his mother is not happy, that his parents are fighting, that the problem of divorce? How do you want us to build a better world, a better society, a creative society to our children, if today we are living in conflict? The nature is teaching us to live our present moment. Why we are not observing? We are just repeating the effect that we see. Or we see the inundation, or we see that rape there, or this politician is very bad, he is a dictator. Yes. But every effect has a cause. And the cause, we have to look for it within us, in the spirit, in the mind, in the dimension of ideology. Otherwise, we will never be able to change anything. Don't blame God. Don't blame the politician. Don't blame the scientist or the others. The problem is within us. If we are not living at peace, if we are not living in balance with ourselves, if we are not living in love for life that we are representing, we will never be able to give peace, to give love, happiness harmony and balance to the people around us. And of course, our environment will be completely in dysfunction. And of course, our society will be completely in dysfunction, may it be social, political, financial, economic, we don't care. We are creating that. This is why now that we have, and thanks to ALLATRA, who is exposing the situation, the truth within us, we don't have time to judge this effect created by us. We need now to think how to get out from that. We know we are in. We know we have some politician corrupted. We have created a society based on corruption, based on ego, based on hatred, anger, all that. We know that. We know it is the fact that we have in front of us. So we need to stop talking about that. We need to now focus on the solution and no more on the problem. Let's focus on solution and no more problem. Because the problem, we know them already. We know the problem already. Now, what will be the solution? We know now the cause is from us. The cause is within us. So let's build something within us. You cannot teach something to someone if you have not the knowledge. The knowledge is coming from the experience. And when you want to teach someone love, peace, and stop all the conflict, when you need to teach all that, it's not taught by words. It's not taught by words. It's taught by being an example. For example, let's see, we want to teach our children, but we are not even capable to listen to them. We are not even capable to respect their free will. We continue to force our daughter to marry men that can be their grandfather. We continue to sell our daughters. We continue to rape our daughters, our women, and result in some orphanage. We have a lot of children from the rape, from problems. So we, humanity, yes, we have created all that. All what we see around us, may it be the environment, the problem of killing, rape, all that, even the poverty. It is a pandemic that we have created. The hunger is the pandemic that we have created. A result, what we are collecting? Mental health problem. And what we do? God, what I have done to you, why you are punishing me? It's not a punishment. It is the consequence.
Your Royal Highness, your microphone turned off for some reason.
ALLATRA, for doing their best to create and gather all the people from around the world to work on the solution. Not only for our children, first for ourselves. Then when we have created that for ourselves, we become the example to our children. A child, if he see you praying, he will pray. If he see you insulting someone, he will insult the other one. The child is repeating exactly what you are doing. You see? So, thank you, ALLATRA, for exposing all that and putting us all together. And I want to say to all my sisters here, the speakers who spoke, you see, the problem of refugee, the problem of all that is a collective problem. And we cannot change the effect if we're not changing the cause. And the cause is within us. You understand? So these refugees, there's a reason behind. There's a cause behind. We need to teach the truth. But to teach the truth, we need to understand the truth. And the truth starts by knowing yourself. If you don't know yourself, you have no chance to change this world. I'm sorry. This is the reality. So thank you. Thank you, ALLATRA, for inviting me. And I love the conference. And this is why I am here today. I came back today because it's just being and united all together for one cause, the well-being of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Royal Highness Queen Nadia. Thank you for such heart-touching words. And of course, thank you so much for bringing up the importance of, let's say, realization and understanding that we are the ones who are responsible for what is going on in this world today. We're the ones who have built all these issues and caused them, but we are also the ones who are responsible for the change. We are the ones who are capable to change everything for the betterment of the humanity. And thank you so much for your inspirational speech. And right now, I would like to pass the floor to Marina.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Katya. So I also very, very grateful to all of our speakers that presented today such a extremely painful, but at the same time, truthful facts without which we cannot really decide and act together. And to summarize everything that every single of you spoke today about refugees, I would like to invite you to watch a video that was presented on the conference on the topic of refugees. So let's watch the video.
Have you ever thought that there might be circumstances when you will suddenly have to leave your home, your apartment, or your town? Leave forever. And the reason for this would be neither traveling, nor vacation, or a planned moving, but the necessity to survive. Refugee. You have probably heard this word from the news. But have you ever thought that sooner or later you may become a refugee yourself? After all, climate disasters know no borders, social statuses, or schedules. In 2020 alone, 82.4 million people were forced to leave their homes. This is equal to the population of such countries as Germany or Turkey. This is more than the population of Great Britain or France. Refugees are people who are fleeing a deadly threat. But today, there is no place for them to run to. Their lives are exposed to danger and risk wherever they get to. Among them, there are millions of people, climate refugees, who have no protection of the law. Neither the Refugee Convention nor the international law oblige countries to accept climate refugees. On January 21st, 2020, the UN Human Rights Committee ruled that countries cannot send people back to their home country who have faced climate changes. It ruled, but actually rejected the world's first complaint filed by Loan Tessiota against New Zealand, which violated his right to life by being deported to his home country of Kiribati. After the deportation of Loan's family, one of his children suffered from a serious case of blood poisoning. Climate refugees are one of the most disenfranchised categories of people. The laws of many countries provide for penalties regarding inhumane treatment of animals, but they give absolutely no protection to the people who miraculously survived a natural disaster and ended up on the street without means of sustenance. Every day, one child dies among migrants or refugees. Mark Lowcock said, "I'm getting daily reports of babies and other young children dying in the cold." Imagine the grief of a parent who escaped a war zone, with their child only to watch that child freeze to death. We build shelters for homeless animals, but we refuse to help people in need. Not only do we refuse to help these people, all kinds of violence against refugees are permitted. Many countries began a containment policy, trying to prevent refugees from entering their territories at all costs. According to the UN, thousands of people were pushed back by the border control authorities in Europe using violent measures. The pandemic worsened the situation for refugees. According to official information, tightening of border crossings did not let hundreds of thousands of people leave zones of armed conflicts, economic crisis, and environmental disasters. Meanwhile, the number of business trips abroad remained practically at the same level. Since 2015, border violence has become more sophisticated. Moreover, since 2020, the number of tortures has increased compared to the previous year. A special report prepared by Border Violence Monitoring Network on tortures in 2020 analysis data from 286 testimonies of violent pushbacks, prolonged beating for up to 6 hours at a time, police dogs being released and encouraged to attack, forced undressing, the burning and destruction of clothes, and forcing people on the move to cross borders in a complete state of undress. Groups of up to 80 men, women, and children were forced to undress completely and placed inside the detention room. Severe beating and throwing victims into water, resulting in their disappearance. Here are just a couple of quotes from the victims. They even fired shots close to our ears for the purpose of intimidating us. They didn't ask us anything, just started the beating. We had mayonnaise and ketchup in our bags, which they rubbed on our wounds. In December 2020, the Black Book of Pushbacks was published. A 1,500-page book documents the horrific violence suffered by over 12,000 people at the hands of authorities on the external borders of civilized European countries. Oxfam International published a similar report in 2018. Police detain children as young as 12 in cells without water or food and removed SIM cards from their mobile phones. Changing their birth date on statements, illegitimately pushing them back across the border, cutting the soles off their shoes so they wouldn't try to come back. There is clear evidence of an increased sexual and gender-based violence against women and girls, both during and after disasters. Multiple cases of sexual abuse of children have been documented. Elderly people are also at increased risk of violence, exploitation, and abuse. In our society, a person loses their property, their place of residence, loses the right to protection and life. Refugee camps have appalling conditions. Fabrizio Carboni, Near and Middle East Regional Director of the International Committee of the Red Cross, says about the refugee camps. Tents plagued by rats, water sources contaminated by feces, and inhabitants suffering from tuberculosis, scabies, and post-traumatic stress. Hundreds of children, mostly boys, some as young as 12, are detained in adult prisons, places they simply do not belong. These are the realities of our consumer society we live in. Considering the trend of escalating climate disasters, are you sure disasters won't come to your home tomorrow? Are you prepared to be in those people's shoes? Or shall we change things together? Nobody values human life in a consumer society. But in the creative society, human life is of the highest value.
Yes, definitely. Seeing this whole picture is really creeps to the trembling. And we understand that this format in which we're living right now is totally inhumane. And until we change the format, nothing will change. We're all responsible for having such a difficult situation right now with refugees. And where is the guarantee that you and me will not have to face that problem? So it is so important right now to change format. And we really need to understand that everything depends on each of us.
Yes, Marina, I totally agree with you, and thank you so much for emphasizing this point. And also, right now, I would like to address another question to Irina. Irina, we know that right now we have people in the world who can speak up, but they keep silent. They hold on to their wallets, their crowns, and even though they have influence, even though they have the ability to convey this truth to a large number of people, they do not. They do not want to speak up. And after all, it takes just a couple of these people who are willing to speak up, to tell the truth. And this way, we would quickly inform everyone in the world about the idea of the creative society. So the question is, why do you think they are keeping silent? Why they are keeping quiet?
Страх.
Fear. I guess it's because of fear. Fear to lose your status. Fear just what will other people think about you. Fear to change life. Although just deep inside, these people understand everything. I would like to give you an example. When preparing for the conference, I tried to involve a young, talented, bright politician, and he's really very just bright. He has such a vision of a person who is able to see the whole picture. And even he, right? I've been trying for about a month to involve this man and his team to participate in the Global Crisis Conference. But I was looking forward to the meeting, with him. But I didn't know, but I truly believe that something horrible must happen. Then
Я вижу это не только в женщинах, которые более чувствительны к сигналам.
You know, of course, women are more kind of sensitive to what is happening around. But I can also see this ability even in men. And this gives a feeling of not just hope, but confidence that we are doing the right thing in France. And we are that unity and that point of no return, that impetus that will help other people wake up. Because lots of people are still sleeping, but everything ends. And the horrible thing is really when people are afraid to speak up. Unfortunately, we were taught to behave in such a way during thousands of years, but because we have forgotten ourselves. But when we begin to remember ourselves, then we get freedom, and everything else is imposed. And that is the truth.
Thank you so much for such a sincere answer. And I totally agree with you that we need to get rid of that fear, and we need to give ourselves an opportunity and possibility to believe in ourselves and to act. And coming to the bottom line of our today's roundtable and seeing the whole picture of the situation we're in as humanity right now, the important question arises: what kind of world will we leave to our children? Are we ready to pull ourselves together and take the responsibility for ourselves and not to hesitate to speak up? To speak about the fact that we need to change the very root of the problem, the very format of society, to inform people about the creative format of society, the one that millions of people are already talking about openly today, and to bring that awareness that we can change everything together, and that the only way out is this deadlock of the consumer format of society is the creative format of society, where we will be able to survive. And right now, I would like to pass the floor to Marina, as she has a really interesting question to Your Royal Highness, Queen Nadia.
Thank you so much, Katya. Your Royal Highness, in your opinion, how important is it for all people to understand that the root of all our problems is the consumer format of our society, and to share this understanding with everybody, to inform people and to say that only in a creative format our society can we survive in a climate disasters?
Thank you for your question. This is a very interesting question. You know, we need to accept that we are living in a world of duality and polarity. Polarity is one of the law, the universal law, divine universal law. Polarity, good, bad, positive, negative, electric, magnetic, male, female. This polarity is present within us. The reality of the situation is we don't need to fight with the others. The biggest fight is within ourselves, to fight with ourselves. In fact, it's our ideas fighting with our emotions. You understand? This is our light fighting our darkness. You understand? So when we understand that we are living this world of duality within us, we understand the system that is created around us. We understand everything. We understand that this law of polarity is one of the fundamental law that we have to live. When you analyze the situation, you understand that everything is relative. There's not really good or bad. We are all here living a journey of experience. We are all here born not perfect. We are here to all make some mistakes. And we need to learn from our mistakes. We are not here to judge the others. When we see the problem in the other, it means that we have something to correct within us. You know? So when all what we have within us is just a projection, and thanks to our consciousness, thanks to our third eye, there's a projection, you know, a communication, you know, of what we can see and what we can correct within us. Putting the problems on the others is not the right solution, because it's an infection of the mental. We have to recognize that we are here in a world of duality. Everything should be balanced. Everything should be balanced. Sometimes, and most of the time, you need to go through the darkness. And let's say the darkness in its facet, the darkness in its color, the darkness and the worst moment, in order to understand the light and the power of light that we are, because we are an energy of love and light. This is our real source. So when we understand that, there is a perfection in our imperfection. You understand? And there's a perfection in our imperfection. We are all born here for a reason. And we are all experiencing something. But we are creating in fears. And we have created this society of consumer. Why? Because we are scared of tomorrow. We are scared of tomorrow. So we are creating a society of consumer in order to destroy the present moment. We are selfish. We are selfish. We are not building in sustainability. And this is why we have created this society of consumer. We are scared of what we will eat tomorrow. We are scared of what we will wear tomorrow. But I just want to remind something to all our brothers and sisters. God has created us with principles. God is faithful to his principles. Don't be scared of tomorrow. Because if you have faith, if you develop faith within you, you won't have any more problem. You will live always in your present. One of the principles of God that is written, engraved within us, you see, one of his principles is nutrition. Nutrition. What does it mean? that everybody who is born will have enough necessary for himself. See, when a baby is born, the milk is already present in the breast of the mother. Did the mother work for that? Did she produce this milk in her breast? Or did the father intervene? No. It was already present. The baby had just to eat. So when the birds need something, God is feeding them. God is feeding every creation. If you have faith in God and if you have faith in you, you will never be able to have fears or doubt anymore, or create on this in short period. Build in sustainability. Build the love within you in sustainability. And the love is an essence of faith. Unconditional love is an essence of faith. Unfortunately, we are mixing the human love, this bio-organic love, with the real love. The true love has nothing to do with the love that you have with your children or that, or your husband, or for your car, or no. This love has failures. This love is not a sustainable love. It's not a true love. The love that I am talking about is the love that is respecting your free will, respecting your color, respecting your religion, respecting the human being you are, and most of all, respecting the spirit as love and light. This is how we should go out from our ignorance and stop building this society of consumer that is destroying us because it is bringing insecurity to us. See where we are today. We are thinking again how to create the sustainable development. How? We are still in. Every 20 years, we come back to the same topic. But if since the beginning we are building and taking love as base of everything, because everything is created in love. Even this world of duality is created by love. Never have doubt, never have fears. Don't live in your past anymore because the past is over. Never live in your future because the future doesn't exist yet. Live always your present. And when you live your present by faith that you are spirit, that you are the unlimited power, that doesn't matter the challenges that you have. No. Because love has no condition. Love has no limit. Love has no gender. Love has no conflict. Love is love. Live it. Just be love. Share this love. And don't be scared. Don't try to produce and create a society that is already destroying life. We are destroying life. We need to give more attention to love in order to live at peace. See, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, Peace will take roots in hearts and will become an absolute law respected by all. We won't be able anymore to fight one another. We won't be able anymore to build or create a society, a consumer society, because building on sustainability is building on solidarity, sharing with one another, helping one another, teaching one another. Everything is a question of education and knowledge. Knowledge by experience. Be an example. Be an example of abundance. Pay attention to the abundance around you. Pay attention to the abundance that you have within you. And stop this nonsense of creating this society. We continue to destroy one another. We are sending spell to one another with our judgment. When I say let's develop unconditional love, it's also to forgive. Forgive and accept that we are not born perfect, that we have to forgive people who are making mistakes. Forgive to our children. Forgive to the people who are making barbaric action. Why? Because it's a lack of love. It's a lack of understanding. We need to teach them love. We need to teach them love. When you teach to people love, you won't have any more this problem of conflict, rape, all that, all this nonsense. The most important is to be balanced within. Our spirit has to be aligned with our body. The spirit is the master of everything. We are the master of everything. And now we need to just together, to all the people together, and just teach them who they are. And from this duality, let's build again the unity. Because in reality, this world, an electromagnetic world, is a world of unity. And it is in its divided and exploded version. So if all together we understand that, we will understand that we are only divided in this material life, in the illusion of the mind, in the illusion of the mind. So, thank you. Let's build together a world of unity.
Thank you so much.
And reform all the system that we have created. We need to reform all the system, even the system of education, and help our children to understand and to become a leader. Understand them, to teach them how to become a leader. And again, every education has to be taught by the example. I believe so. Be an example to our children. Thank you. I hope I have answered to your question.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Your Highness. We highly appreciate your answers. Thank you again for empowering and motivate all of our viewers today. And I hope each of us, the entire humanity, will realize our inner potential and act in order to build a creative society, in order to survive. Thank you very much for motivating our viewers and us again. And dear Akmaral, the facts that you brought today were incredibly vital to hear, because they proved again how consumer society are in the deadlock, and we really need to change it. And could you please share with us, how do you think it's important to speak up right now in order to inform every single person on earth about the fact that creative society is the only way out of this crisis?
Thank you for your question, Marina. I agree with Her Highness that we have to love each other and unite, but at the same time, I doubt that you can unite, for example, poor person. How can you encourage the poor person to love a rich person? I agree that we have to love each other. We need to feel this love and develop this love in our souls. But also, in my view, we should also fight an inequality in this world. That's why we need to change the system, the format of our society, because in consumer society, what is the goal of this society is, everybody knows that this is profit, only profit and money. And transnational companies will sacrifice everything, any human life, for their profit. And how you can explain, for example, to Bezos, the owner of Amazon, who spent such money just to go for a few minutes to the universe, to the cosmos, just to feel this excitement, to be in the first businessman in the universe. So how you will display him that he need to share his love with the poor people of Africa or Middle East? He could spend this money to stop the migration from countries which suffering ecology catastrophes or war conflict zones. So I think, first of all, we need to realize that the format of the society we are living in, it's incorrect. How we can change the people? Yes, Your Highness is right. We need to change the level of education, the education system. We need to change our mass media format, because any journalist, any reporter have to realize their responsibility for telling the truth. But again, how we can provide them, how we can with truth, how we provide them with important and truth information, how we can support the journalists. They also have families, they need to eat, they need to provide their families. How they will tell the truth when they have fear to tell that truth? It's also the questions. What I need to say more? How we can convince the politicians of the countries which see the main goal of their politics as to obtain the dominance, the only dominance of their countries above the others. How we can explain them that their politics of changing regimes by forcing, by revolution, by violent revolutions, it's a way to no way to change them with bringing forcefully democracy and freedom to their countries. Instead of that, you should help these countries to change their education, to not impose marionettic, like puppet regimes, which will follow the different countries' agenda. So there are many questions, many problems to work together. And in this case, yes, Her Highness Nadia is right that we have to unite. This is the only way to unite and change this society we're living in to the better one.
Thank you so much, dear Akmaral. Thank you for pointing out that, of course, unity right now is the way out for us as the humanity. And of course, changing the format of society, one of the best ways is, of course, informing people, because as you have mentioned previously as well, answering one of the previous questions, is that we are the ones who make a choice. We are the ones who elect the presidents and so on. So basically, once all people, all billions and people in the world know about the solution, the creative society, then they can form this electoral demand, right? And then they will be able to basically change the system, shake it up, shake this metrics, and build something that will be truly human-oriented, build the system, build the society where every human being will feel safe, secure, will have everything that he or she needs, right? The basic needs will be covered, and people will have no need to move to other countries for, searching for shelter or searching for a better salary. People will feel that they truly live, that they do not survive. And thank you very much for mentioning this important point that we truly need to unite. Only together as the society, as the humanity, we can overcome all these difficulties that have been formed, right? And only together we can search for these solutions, bringing up all the knowledge that we have, all the experts and different specialists from different fields can truly create the format of society that will be good for every human being on the planet Earth. And right now, I would like to pass the floor to Ksenia, and I would like to ask you, Ksenia, how do you think it is important for everyone today to not be silent, to tell the truth? And also, could you please share your opinion? How critical is it right now to inform people about the idea of the creative society?
Thank you. I personally believe that telling the truth is the first step to action. People were surrounded by lies for many years, and even now we can observe that nowadays people, they lose the trust. They stop believing in people around them. And this is could be caused due to the fear of maybe a negative past experience or difference between people themselves. They could be also afraid to be used, people disrespecting each other and attempting to manipulate one another. And nowadays, I noticed that it is becoming a big trend to brag and show that they betrayed, they cheat, they take advantage, and etc. of each other. It seems as being this notion being a smart and finding out a creative way of solving the situation. However, this is the sad reality nowadays. We should not betray or use each other. We should treat each other as in a respectful way. And therefore, by opposition, telling the truth is the way to free people, free them from all the boundaries regarding the trust among all of us. Even if we are aware that we should not lie, remaining silent is the same as lying. And with every choice you have, you can do three things. You can do something good about this, you can do something bad, or you do nothing. And I believe that the last two are the inappropriate, simply because if you don't do good and you keep silent, it's basically as equivalent to the same as lying to somebody, because it's selfish to withhold the information from somebody else. And as a mother, I tell the truth to my child. I take full responsibility of my words, as this small human being is currently absorbing like a sponge of all the information that I give to her. And if I speak the truth to my child, why would I not speak the truth to people around me? For me, it seems to be illogical that not to put somebody above somebody else. My child, of course, it's my blood, but people around me are the same human beings, and they deserve to be treated the same way, equally, like I treat my child. Therefore, I would like to emphasize that we are all equal, and we all deserve to know the truth without exceptions, and despite how good or bad it could be. Even the sweet lie is still a lie. I would like to also highlight that I'm completely agree and I support the creative society. And to come back to the question about the truth, it's actually summarized in the fourth foundation that is about the transparency and openness of all information for all. And I would like to read out the statement of this foundation. Every human has the right to receive reliable information about the moments and the distribution of public funds. Each human has access to information about the status of implementation of society's decisions. The mass media belongs exclusively to the society and reflect information trustfully, openly, and honestly. This conference should be a wake-up call to all the people that disaster do not care about the borders, and we should react and action as soon as possible. We want to take care of our children and grandchildren, for our neighbors and our families, all equally. And this is the way to sustainability. Let's embrace the opportunity we have in our hands. Let's embrace the fact that we have all the information we receive from the conference, all the scientific facts, all the people who are active participants who share the information, who research and who gathered. And let's transform ourselves and change the world for the better place for us, but most importantly for our children. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ksenia. Thank you so much again for emphasizing that we are responsible for the future of our children, for the future of our next generation, and of course for our own future. And our roundtable is coming to the end, and I would like to express my deepest gratitude to all our speakers today for being with us today, for sharing their wisdom, their knowledge, and this tremendous important facts about the true situation in our society right now, because situation is incredibly serious right now. The cataclysms are escalating, and each of us sooner or later will feel and experience that. But right now we still have a chance. We still have a chance to unite and survive and find together jointly solution. But we only need to understand that everything depends on each of us, on you and me. And the question is right now, will you speak up, dear viewers? Will you tell the truth and share this important, vital information with your relatives, with your friends, with your co-workers? Because without you, my friend, we definitely cannot survive. We definitely need to unite and act right now. Everything depends on our choice.
Yes, and thank you so much, Marina. Thank you to all our wonderful speakers today. Truly amazing women, strong, confident, and really empowering women. were our guests of this roundtable. And thank you, of course, to our dear viewers for staying with us. And we also would like to invite everyone, all the speakers, all the viewers, all people who will be watching this roundtable later on, to a really tremendous conference on December the 4th, 2021, where the whole world will gather together. The conference will be called Global Crisis: Time for the Truth. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we'll see you in the next roundtable.
Thank you.